Hey guys, what's going on? This is Grant.
Stash.
This is Indiebnb.
Tonight we speak with Tomo Nakayama, an artist out of Seattle, Washington. This might be the coolest guy I've ever met in my life. Um, you got to listen all the way through. Do not turn it off. I know you're going to turn it off about 20 minutes through. Um, Listen to it. Tomo Nakayama. Here we go.
Roll the motherfucking tape.
All right, welcome back. We're here at Indiebnb live again with Mr. Tomo Nakayama from Seattle, Washington. How's it going tonight?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Super excited to have you on. You popped up on my Discover Weekly on Spotify, I think, like a
Okay.
month or two ago, and um, that kind of led us to you. And then I've been on a roller coaster ride of going through all your sounds, man, because you've got maybe the widest sound I've ever heard from one artist in my life, and I mean that in a good way. So, we're excited to get in and talk about some of this.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, let's just, I did a little research on you and saw some of your background, but, let's just start at the beginning. How did you get into music?
Well, I mean, I played in orchestra and choir and jazz band and stuff in high school, middle school, all that, and started writing my own songs when I was like 13 or something like that.
Hmm.
Got really into Nirvana. It was like the mid 90s, and yeah, started recording my own songs in high school, and then started a band called Asahi um, in the early 2000s, and
Hmm.
we did some tours. And yeah, I had a band called Grand Hallway after that, and that went on for 5 or 6 years. We released a couple records, and yeah, toured a bunch with that band as well, and I've been playing solo for the last however many years. Yeah, decade, I guess. Yeah. So I've been playing music for 20 years professionally. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So you've gotten to experience it all from, different kinds of bands and then being on your own. That must be a wild experience for you.
Yeah, it's just it's been a long journey,
Yeah. And you mentioned you were kind of started sort of doing orchestra and stuff. So do you have some classical influence through your sound?
I mean, yeah, I always loved the sound of classical instruments, but I was always a really bad student, so I didn't like to practice. So I never got better at like violin, viola was kind of like my main instrument when I was in middle school or whatever. But like when I found the guitar, I just completely like abandoned that, and and yeah, I play piano and guitar mostly, and but I'm all self-taught,
Hmm.
so um, yeah, I kind of came along during that whole like uh, everything was about like DIY, kind of learning as you go, and
Yeah.
yeah, just been like experimenting a lot. So
Yeah, and that shows through your sound, and if I'm guessing when you're saying you got influenced by Nirvana, that's probably you probably wanted to put the violin away at that point because there wasn't a lot of violin flowing through Kurt Cobain's house. I don't think.
well, there's cello on Unplugged. I
Yeah,
actually played with Laurie Goldston, who plays cello on Unplugged. She lives in Seattle and is a good friend, and we played a few shows together, stuff like that. So,
that is awesome, man. That is
yeah,
really awesome. We've talked to a lot of people from Seattle on here, and you know that there's something about Seattle. Just I feel like just the city itself that just influences people. Do you feel that just being in Seattle gives you a different influence than if you were living in Los Angeles or San Francisco or something like that?
yeah. It's kind of in between like a big city and a small town kind of vibe, and we got so much like nature around, like you can just like you'll be in the city and then drive out a half hour and you're just surrounded by mountains. And
Hmm.
I think there's something about that that just like shows up in the music, you know? I mean, I've been told that my songs sound like the Northwest. Not exactly sure what that is, but yeah.
I can
And
feel that, you know.
yeah, there's just a lot of history too, a lot of
Hmm.
bands that have come through here. So, um, yeah, we all learn from each other, and it just through osmosis or something,
Yeah. Yeah, I can see your sound being northwestern feeling. At least, like, I was listening to your first album, Fog on the Lens. I
Mhm.
felt like that. Yeah, I could feel like I was in the woodsy part of the northwest. And then, as you move forward to Melon Day, I feel like, oh no, we're right downtown. Going to a club, having a good time tonight, kind of feeling. So, um, it's just amazing, man, how much breadth you have on your spectrum. What goes into you deciding, like, because all these albums sound so different. What kind of goes into you saying, "Hey, I'm going to make this one sound this way," or this one's going to go a completely different direction.
Um, I don't know. I just always liked a lot of different kinds of music,
Hmm.
like Bjork's a really big influence, and Arthur Russell, and um, you know, just people who kind of hop between genres, and it's all about it's all about the song, right? Just
Hmm.
whatever feels good in the moment, and like, yeah, with Melody, I didn't really like sit down to write an electronic record. It just kind of happened because I was learning how to use drum machines and synthesizers, and it was all new to me, and that was just exciting, So
Yeah.
yeah, it's most of my albums are just kind of documents of where I am at the time and just my limitations as a musician. You know what I mean? And yeah, and it all just kind of gets added to the vocabulary, and each album just kind of incorporates different aspects of that.
Yeah. So it's just basically whatever kind of vibe you're feeling at that time, you just kind of you ride with it.
Yeah, I just don't like being bored,
Yeah.
like repeating myself. So yeah, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, it was fresh, that to go through and listen to all your stuff and not feel like I was listening to the same album twice, which I think a lot of artists can fall into that comfort zone because it's what they know and that's what they do. But you're obviously not scared to break through any boxes and figure out a new sound or do something cool or take a risk.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for people who spend years on their craft and just like perfect their thing, right? And I think I've been trying to do that with just songwriting in general, but like, yeah, I like learning new things and incorporating that into my music, and
Hmm.
yeah, uh, and it just frees you up, to like playing different kinds of shows and meeting different kinds of people, and yeah, just always been real curious about the world, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of shows, I tuned in a few hours ago for your Instagram live, and that looked like an electric factory. You were having a blast on there.
Oh yeah, you were watching that?
Yeah,
You're
it popped up on my phone. It was just like, oh, he went live, and I was like, well, I might as well
yeah,
watch
yeah.
this right before I talk to him.
Well, so I haven't rehearsed with my band for like a year and a half, and we haven't
Hmm.
done any of these Melon songs because it came out during the pandemic. So we finally booked a show for later in the summer. So my band's coming over this week, and to rehearse, So I got a new PA system, so I set that up, and I was just kind of messing around, and I figured I would do that on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, if that's any kind of foreshadowing for what live shows coming up for you is going to look like, then sign me up because that looks like an electric factory. What do you have envisioned for a live show moving forward?
Yeah, it's gonna be like Well, so I have my friend Chris Cossiano has been my drummer for a long time, and Yuki Matthews, who helped me co-produce Melon Day, and well, all my solo albums. He's been my main collaborator. But he also plays in the Shins, you know. But he's going to be playing some bass and guitar and stuff, um, and then I have another synth player, Alina To, who also plays violin in my band, and yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm still trying to figure out how to incorporate the folkier stuff with the electronic stuff, you know, and make it all make sense live. But and I also want to like make it visually interesting on stage as well. You know, I like to
Hmm.
make it a real like immersive experience, and yeah, you know, I mean, I've had a whole year to think about it, but I'm just now kind of putting it all together.
I think we've all, fallen into that. Like, oh, I'll get into this thing, and you're like, oh, I got plenty of time, and now it's like, oh, we're getting kind of close to the end of COVID here, thankfully, But
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah,
what was a, as you were saying, trying to incorporate your folks or your stuff, what would a show, 5 years ago look like for you?
Well, 5 years ago, I was doing a lot of like just well, so the band I was in before I went solo, Grand Hallway, we it was like a really big collective, you know. Uh, we had people from a bunch of other bands playing, and at one point we had like 8 or 9 members, and we also played with like a orchestra. We collaborated with like a 30-piece orchestra and a children's choir and stuff. It was all like maximalist, you know. And and so when I went solo, I kind of wanted to go the total opposite direction. So I spent a few years just kind of um, did a lot of busking actually, just for fun, you know. And I was just playing in the airport, just solo with a guitar, and I really got into like folk music, you know, Nick Drake and Paul Simon, Judy Sill, that kind of era, like
Hmm.
British folk, and got really into like finger picking, you know, and yeah, that's kind of where I was at like 5 years ago. But yeah, but I didn't really want to get boxed into that, you know what I mean? Just
Hmm.
have that become my identity. So I was like, that's kind of what spurred on Melon Day. Yeah.
The busking. I mean, talk to us about just in general. I guess maybe some of your good busking stories. I mean, we always see people doing that, and I've never actually gotten to ask anybody who has done it. What the how it feels to start playing in the middle of a crowd and just kind of start to gather. So what's
Yeah.
that experience like?
It's really cool, man. It's a totally different sort of yeah, when you're not specifically on a stage and people aren't like staring at you, you have to work a little harder to get people's attention. Or you don't even have to. You can just play for yourself, you know what I mean? And I specifically got this gig playing in at the airport in Seattle, behind the security part, you know. So like you kind of have this like uh, what do you call it? Yeah,
Captive audience.
yeah, exactly. They got nothing to do. They got time to kill, you know, and yeah, but they're also trying to get places too. So they'll people will come and sit for like 15 minutes at a time or something, and you get to have these really brief like kind of intense interactions with people, you know. Like I've had people come up to me like telling me they're like on their way to their dad's funeral, you know, and the song that I was playing reminded me of their dad, you know. And there's one time I was playing "Leaving on a Jet Plane," you know, it's you know airport, whatever.
Yeah.
But like this guy walked up all the way from the end of the gate, and he came up to me and he's like, "I'm the president of the John Denver fan club," and John Denver was a friend of mine, and and he just like he thanked me for playing the song, you know, and yeah, just a lot of like really random, cool interactions from people from all over the world, and I mean, obviously I haven't been able to do it in the last year because of COVID, you know. But it was a really yeah, it was a really cool time in my life. Yeah, I like one time LeVar Burton, you know, from Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
He came through and like asked me for directions and stuff like, while I was playing his song. And people feel comfortable because you're not like elevated on a stage. You're just right
Yeah.
on the same level, you know. And yeah, it's you do a lot of like it's a lot of people watching.
Yeah.
You get to kind of see people just out of their out of their element, you know, just kind of
Hmm.
trying to find their way. Yeah.
Would you mix in like what kind of set list would you do? Would you just kind of mix in? Because I feel like there's a lot of songs about travel and air travel, or would you kind of go and put some originals in there? What did that look like? Your set list?
Yeah, I did a lot of originals. I did a lot of covers, and the sets were like, you know, 3, 4 hours long. And I wouldn't take any breaks. I would just like play one song to the next, you know. And
Yeah.
unless someone walked up and wanted to buy a CD or whatever, I'd just keep playing. And so it becomes this sort of stream of consciousness conversation with with your own music. And yeah, that my second album, Pieces of Sky, was a lot about that experience, you know. And so I was playing all these kind of classic. I mean, I like to play a lot of songs that people already know, you know, and like Beatles songs and you know uh, that kind of stuff. And I wanted my own songs to be able to like stand up next to those, you know, just with a single guitar. So I think my songwriting became better through that practice.
What's
But
what's like the most like outlandish cover you ever played doing that? Just like something someone would be like, this guy's like, what is he actually playing this song?
oh yeah, well, let's see. Um, I mean, I did, you know, I would do like Hunger Strike by Temple of the Dog because they have a stage. There's a Sub Pop record store inside the airport in Seattle, and so I would set the microphone out, you know, in front of the store, and I'd just go through all the Sub Pop bands I know, and some of them are uh, like there's a punk band called Childbirth that I really like in Seattle. So I played some of their songs. Sorry, that's my dog.
It's all good.
But yeah, I mean, somehow it all makes sense, you know. And people seem to have a good time. So
Yeah, I mean that must have been a hell of an experience, and that would have been something great that you could have done over COVID if it would have been possible. But you
mhm.
know, that's been a running theme through our whole podcast. Is just how anxious and ready everyone is, from the listeners to the artists, to get back out there. And what is it that you miss the most about touring and or just playing in front of people?
um, yeah, I guess I mean, you know, you do miss that instant kind of back and forth with the audience that you can't really fill with a Zoom call or like playing on online, you know. There is a certain energy that comes from um, yeah, I like to take people on kind of an emotional journey throughout the course of a set, you know what I mean? And I just miss playing with other people, just playing with my friends, you know, and
Hmm.
that's been real hard. Yeah, I mean, I've been playing shows since I was 19, 20, whatever, you know, just at least once a month since I was a kid. So it's been really weird not having that
Yeah.
regular practice, you know. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited for it to start again.
Hmm. Um, you're talking the emotional journey, and I've noticed that you put a lot of emotion into your lyrics, and what goes into finding lyrics for you and creating
Well,
lyrics.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I go through long periods when I just don't like anything I'm writing, you know, and it takes me a long time to just like kind of mentally get out of my own head, out of my own way, you know? And then I find that when I'm just not trying so hard, then the words start coming, you know? And I like songs that don't really tell you exactly what it's about, you know? Like I like really observational, you know, just like Leonard Cohen and, you know, Bob Dylan, that kind of just like uh yeah, just a lot of like abstract imagery and things that kind of hint at a common human experience, but um, yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's, I mean, if yeah, if it was easier, I would make a lot more songs, you know. But it
Yeah.
just takes me a long time. Yeah, but I know it when I hear it, when it feels good, you know.
Yeah. And I just, like is Paper Snowflakes actually a Christmas song? No one knows.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote that one after Thanksgiving, and it looked like I wasn't gonna be able to see my family this year, you
Hmm.
know, and it was just so depressing. And but I kept telling myself, you know, this is only 1 year, one holiday. Like it's things are gonna be better, you know. But yeah, I kind of had to get to like a super low place to just kind of like get get my feelings out, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean that like you touched on it, and I always try to ask people about it, but that I feel like a lot of the best lyricists do find that way to make the human connection without being so direct, because it's we're all experiencing the same world, and there's different ways of seeing it, but there's only so many emotions, and you do a great job, I feel like, of finding those emotions, but not just like handing it to someone on a silver platter and just kind of making the listener think. So um,
Cool.
don't beat yourself up too much on your lyricism is what I'm trying to say. Um,
And yeah.
and one thing we always talk about on here too is to go along with that is and Grant knows exactly where I'm going with this, but it's sort of the visual aspect of being a musician that people don't think about a lot. And Grant's our resident music video expert,
Oh yeah.
so I'll
Yeah,
let him go into the
yeah.
music videos portion.
Yeah, it's definitely an appreciation of the art of just kind of seeing. So somebody described it. One of our earlier podcasts is like a hidden chapter at the end of a book where you kind of get to see the other aspect. You hear a song, you can kind of see what you want to see, and then you see what the artist wanted you to see. Within the music video. So, I noticed with yours, I mean, I picked out a few to kind of just ask you about, but, Nightingale, I kind of like your Griffith Observatory in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Like talk about the experience making that and where you kind of got the ideas and who helped you with it.
Yeah, that video I made during I did like a month-long tour of the U.S. just driving around by myself in a little Toyota Corolla, like playing like random like houses and I booked it kind of spur of the moment just with like friends that I knew in different cities, you know. So I'd been on the road for like a month and LA was one of the last stops. And so I was hanging out with my friend Britta Lundin, who is a writer. She worked on Riverdale and put out a couple books and stuff, but she was also a filmmaker before that. And yeah, she used to live in Seattle. We worked at the same movie theater, you know. So she was like, "Hey, do you want to make a video while you're in town?" and and yeah, so we went up to the Griffith Observatory. I've never been there before, you know, and so we just, I think you're supposed to technically have like a filming permit to make a video up there, but we're just like, shit, let's just do it, you know,
Yeah.
and went up there and kind of just um, did a bunch of takes, and uh, and then some of the live footage is from the actual show that I played that night in a
Okay.
tattoo shop in downtown LA. But
That's cool.
yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, it kind of captures that tour for me, you know.
Yeah. I did notice you have a lot of live performances on your YouTube channel, and a lot of, I mean, there's a ton of different ones. What, I guess, what's your, what goes into like putting something like that up there, and just being able to see kind of the big picture, or, what do you like about putting up those live performances?
Um, I mean, whenever possible, I like to kind of present a song in its raw form, how it will sound live. And yeah, I mean, videos with like I like to have like I went to film school and I'm really interested in making videos and stuff like that, but it's
Mhm.
like a lot of times that those visuals can come to define a song for the listener, or kind of like it makes interpretation a little bit more like narrow if you're not careful, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I feel like live footage, it's a little more open to
Mhm.
interpretation. But yeah,
Yeah. You kind of get the best of both worlds with, the visual and how you want to see it presented live, but also you get the, still have that, piece where you can still think in your head, right, what does this remind me of, or anything. I totally get that. You have an award-winning video, Fourth of Juliverse, and talk about that one. And
yeah,
how'd you get it? It was it the Memphis, I believe it was the Memphis Film Festival. Which one did it win in?
yeah. Memphis and I forget the other one, but my friend Tony Folgan directed that. He's a real talented filmmaker in town, and yeah, the song is actually called Fourth of July verse.
Julivers? Oh, I just blew
Yeah,
that. Oh man.
no, it's okay. It's kind of an inside joke for Seattle people because there's a seafood restaurant called Ivers that sponsored our Fourth of July fireworks show in Lake Union for many years. They don't do it anymore, but yeah, so it evokes a real specific kind of childhood memory for me, of just like going to see fireworks with my parents and um, but yeah, so that song kind of had its own little narrative, and Tony came up with a really cool little story around it, and we shot it, and everything had to be dark. So like I remember the we shot the video in 1 or 2 days or something, but yeah, it was like from like 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. or something like that. It was pretty intense. Everything feels like a dream. I actually don't remember it very well.
Oh man. Well, yeah, and is your dog in the Walking for Two video? Is that your pup?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Oh
my
my
dog.
gosh, what
Yeah.
a cameo.
Yeah, that was a bunch of like vacation videos I took on my iPhone with the slow-mo setting, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that song. It kind of is about. I mean, I literally wrote it while I was walking with my dog, and but
Uh,
it's also just about how people rely on each other, and when you get real dark and like low, sometimes it helps to think about other people, and like
mhm,
um, to have people who need you, it
definitely.
pulls you through sometimes. So yeah, that's kind of what that song's about.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, that's it's a joyous video with the pup running around, and kind of have that deeper meaning with it as well is awesome. You know, we always think about music videos, and what's one that if you had an unlimited budget and you could just do whatever you wanted, what would song would you pick for of your catalog, and what would you do with that money?
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't know. 'Cause it's yeah, it's never really been about like budget or money so much as just like the concept, you know, that's been
Um,
really that drives my
what,
videos. I just really like collaborating with a lot of different kinds of artists, you know? Like I'd like to collaborate more with like with like a dance troupe or something, like a
yeah,
full-on kind of like musical sort of would
yeah,
be really cool. I've never really done that yet, you know.
yeah.
So
One of the most interesting shows I've been to, I saw Lucius here in Atlanta, and they had a dance. They had like a couple of choreographers, you know, before they came out. It was kind of like their pre-show almost, and I had never seen anything like it before. Three of them came out, and I'm like, "Is this like the opening band? Like, what is going on here?" And like, I was like, "I'm pretty sure they're both supposed to be singing into the microphone. Well, I don't know why they're just dancing around like that, but it kind of like it then it really gives you a different kind of perspective. So the choreography dance troops are very. I'm intrigued now. Anytime I see one, but that'd be cool. What's one artist that like you'd want to like collaborate with or work with, or that dead or alive. So if the great Kurt Cobain could come back for a recording session or two, uh, he is in play.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely feel like I mean I've met a lot of people who knew Kurt, you know, just living in Seattle, and he just seems like a real. I mean, he's larger than life now, you know, but he was also a, just a kid. He was
Yeah.
27 when he died, you know, and
Hmm.
just a real cool dude. I think we would have been friends if he was still around, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'd like. Well, let's see. I mean, um, I've been playing in my friend Jeremy Enoch's band, playing guitar. He played in Sunny Day Real Estate in the '90s, but his solo stuff is really great, and we've toured a bunch, but we haven't recorded anything yet. So I'd really like to collaborate with him, you know, on a recording. And um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, like Bjork is my hero, all time hero, you know,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's every collaboration kind of reveals you learn something new about yourself, you know. So I'm always open to just like meeting new people and learning new ways of making things.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that with your new single on the way, that's sounds like a sort of a continuation of Melon Day in a way, just because it's got sort of, I guess those are synths playing over the kind of heavier sound. Is that sort of the direction you're going in moving forward, maybe with a new album or something like that?
Yeah, I'm yeah, I've been doing a lot of I've just been releasing singles as they kind of come along, you know. And so like I had one called With the Radio On that was more dancey in that Melon Day realm, and then Paper Snowflakes is a total just folk acoustic song, you know.
Hmm.
And on the way, I happened to get this vocal harmonizer, and that was really inspiring. So it was kind of all shaped around that particular instrument, and yeah, you know, I don't know where I'm going, but it's you know, I'm just it's all part of my musical vocabulary now, right? Like every uh, new instrument or new collaborator, it brings a different voice into the mix. But um, yeah, I just go where the song tells me to go, you know?
Hmm.
Could you see
Yeah.
yourself opening up for yourself with like an acoustic set, and then doing kind of more your synth and electronic stuff
Yeah.
in the later time?
You know those the Spinal Tap dudes used to open for themselves as the what were they called, the you know that movie Mighty Wind, where there it was like all about the '60s folk scene, but like they would, it was the same guys as Spinal Tap, but they would come out in full costume and play these like folk songs, and people were just like really confused, and they would throw tomatoes at him and stuff like that, you know. So, yeah, I think it would kind of be like that, just confuse people. But, yeah, I'd do it. It'd be hilarious.
Well, what's your what's your ultimate goal with music?
Um, just to keep doing it, man, you know, to keep to keep growing and to connect with people and learn new things and you know, I've never really been like career driven more than just uh I don't know. I mean, I've gotten to a point where it's like sustainable, you know, and I'm able to make a living off of it. But
Hmm.
I'm more interested in just finding finding new sounds and new things that excite me as a musician, you know. Um, so that's my goal. Yeah, and it'd be nice to make a ton of money. That'd be rad, you
Yeah,
know. I'm not opposed to it, but yeah, like I'm working on a my first feature film score right now with a director named Megan Griffiths, and that's a really interesting challenge. You know, thinking about music in a totally uh, different medium. You know, and yeah, kind of finding new ways of creating. You know,
yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. And I think it was in our first episode ever. We were talking with Bonnie Bloomgarden from the Death Valley Girls. I don't know if you know them from LA.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, they're great.
Larry Schimmel and Patty Schimmel are like associated with them and stuff. But I think that's who it was. But I was talking to her that I'd heard like a week before that Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age talking. And he said like uh, if you ever expect anything from music other than just being able to play it, you're expecting too much. And so I feel like you've got the right attitude for that. And like it's easy for him to say that he's selling out arenas and can sell millions of albums just by releasing one. But that always stuck with me, and I think people like you that you've got I'd say moderate success, and have had made a career of it. That y'all are some of the better artists that are going, just because you've got just this deep love and passion for the music, and you know that's where you're going to get the best stuff from, and that's what we look for in artists. And because Grant and I love music, but we're not making music like you're making music. So um,
You could, yeah. Like, and anyone can play it and have fun, you know. And
yeah,
I think if you truly enjoy what you're doing and believe in what you're making, like, there's gonna be an audience for it somewhere, you know.
yeah,
Because yeah, I mean, not everybody's gonna like everything that you do, you know.
hmm
But uh, yeah, I mean, what I learned from like traveling around the country is that there's good people wherever you go, you know,
hmm
and the people who share the same interests as you, and like, um, or just who can relate to where you're coming from, you know.
yeah.
So yeah,
And to get
What?
back to you talk about scoring a film, you saying that, I don't know why that scares the shit out of me. That just sounds terrifying.
yeah, yeah, it is, yeah.
I'm like,
It's,
I'm thinking like every movie I've ever watched, and I'm like, oh yeah, like that music didn't just come out of nowhere, and like to be able to just like have to really connect to the scene and the emotion they're going for. That must be a real challenge, which you obviously are not scared of a challenge, but that you just said that, and I was like, that just unsettles me a little bit for some reason.
Yeah, it's a totally different, you know, because when you're writing a pop song, you want it to be the center of attention. You want it to be the most interesting thing in the room, right? But like with a film score, you're trying to tell a story, you know, so it's in service of whatever's happening visually on the screen. So a lot of times I find myself needing to like pull elements out or like pare them down, make them simpler, and but still kind of relay what the director and the actors are trying to get across. And yeah, it and I'm learning a lot, you know. And so I'm excited to kind of see how that translates into my own work after this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, have you done any I'm sure you have, but have you watched any, you know, films to kind of study or learn from to just kind of get a general idea?
yeah, you know, I've always loved like Wes Anderson, all like the way he uses music in all of his movies with Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo. There's a lot of his music, and
Hmm.
there's a movie called Me, You, and Everyone We Know with Michael Andrews, who did the soundtrack, and that's super cool, really dreamy, and a lot of like toy synths and stuff like that, you know.
Hmm.
And I really loved Andrew Bird's score that he did for Lynn Shelton's Outside In. Um, yeah, and yeah, I've just been watching a ton of movies, just you know, as and paying attention specifically to the music and how that works. Yeah, so.
You gotta get your boy Eddie Vedder, you know, watch Into the
Oh,
Wild. He's a great,
yeah,
great score.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and when in doubt, you can always just pull out the Seinfeld piano, you know.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
crazy, right? He did all that on a piano, like even the bass lines, the don don don.
I think
I
so.
bet he did that, dude. He did the bass lines on a bass guitar, Cash. What are you talking?
I don't know. I thought maybe it might just be like a keyboard that had the like the bass function on it.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it totally is. I one time I like learned how to play that bass line on a bass, and I posted a video of myself on Instagram practicing it, and and then like Cat Power liked it, like the photo,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh shit, it's Cat Power, but she never liked anything after that.
Just a big
uh,
Seinfeld fan.
I guess, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Oh man.
that might be a perfect segue right into Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. Now that we're getting a little silly here.
Oh,
I
cool.
mean, I tell you what, it couldn't be more perfect. And we're gonna go right into Pete Peterson's potty pack of questions. 20 questions right in a row here. Starting off with dogs or cats. Speaking of cat power,
Oh, both.
Yeah, be
both.
Love,
careful.
love them.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. You a chicken or a fish guy?
Oh, I think chicken's more versatile. Chicken
He likes chicken. Okay.
to
Of
eat.
that chicken, of that chicken, would you rather have your chicken in the form of a tender or a wing?
Wing. Yeah,
Wing. Very good.
bone
Uh,
in.
bone in. I like that. I like that. How do you like your stuff? More vintage or do you like new stuff better?
Uh, um, I like it well cared for. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. Yeah,
I
it's
worded that one kind of weird. How about is it vintage or new?
um, I don't like the word vintage though. But used.
Used. Okay. Gently used. All right. Speaking of gently used, is this planet going to get gently used by some aliens? Are they real?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay. And
definitely.
what about Bigfoot?
Bigfoot? No, that's not real.
Bigfoot's not real. Pacific Northwest guy saying Bigfoot's not real. He kind of knows.
Or maybe it's an alien dressed in a
Yeah.
Bigfoot suit. Yeah.
All right. If you did like fish, would you
Uh-huh.
rather have some salmon or tilapia?
Um, salmon.
Salmon. All right. Is love at first sight real?
Sure.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's real. It's
Okay.
sure.
All right. Yeah, I like to follow up my salmon and tilapia
Yeah.
ask with love
Wow.
at first sight.
What a segue.
Way to
Love his
figure it
wife.
out. Hey, tell you what. How about cake or pie? I mean, where you at on your sweet tooth?
Uh, yeah, I'm more of a cake. Cake.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gonna have a bottle of red or a bottle of white wine?
Uh, oh, depends on the season. Um,
Today.
yeah, or what you're eating if you're having chicken or
A
fish, right?
fish.
But generally, I like a good red. Yeah.
He's a red. He's a bold red man. All right. Clams or scallops? I went really deep into the seafood today.
Oh wow. Okay. Clams.
Clams. Okay. Would you rather see a sunrise or a sunset?
Um, Sunrise.
Sunrise.
Yeah.
All right. At a party, are you more likely to do the robot or the worm?
Remember parties? Man, I can't even imagine being in a room like um what was it? Robot or the worm?
Yeah.
Uh um Robot.
All right. All right. You more likely to wear pants or shorts out?
Uh yeah, pants.
Pants. Okay. With your chicken wings, you going ranch or blue cheese?
Oh, um blue cheese.
Blue
Yeah.
cheese. All right. All right. Are you a day drinker or you like to drink all night?
Oof. Uh let's see. Drink all night. Yeah.
All right. All right. Would you rather be a ninja or a pirate?
Um oh, a pirate seems more fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pirate's life for you. Are you going to have a night in or a night out?
Uh, Probably a night in.
A
Yeah.
night in. Okay. And the most controversial question we ask to all indie artists, because there apparently is some kind of war going on, but chips or pretzels?
Oh, chips. Chips. Yeah. Who says
I mean,
pretzel?
oh my gosh. It's just everybody apparently has some kind of vendetta in the indie rock or indie music community against pretzels. You don't like a big soft pretzel? I mean,
Really?
nobody likes pretzels. I don't know what's
Are
going
we
on.
talking soft pretzel or hard pretzel?
We just either. I mean, if you're, I mean, are you gonna
Oh,
have a bag of potato chips or any kind of pretzel you want?
yeah. I guess. Well, then, yeah, soft pretzel's in a totally different category. It's not really like that's like a meal in itself, though. You know.
Interesting.
Don't you
Maybe we
think?
need to start. We'll start being a little bit more specific with that because I think that I keep thinking people are sleeping on soft pretzels when in reality it's just they're just thinking about Schneiders and
Yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
blowing it off.
That's where my mind goes when you compare it to like chips.
You know. All right. All right. Very good. Well, our final question, as we always do, is who are some bands that we might not know that we ought to be listening to? And keep in mind, we will write these down and reach out to them. Arian,
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
them, hey, Toma send us over to you.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah.
who are some
I'll give
people
you.
that you wanna shout out and give us some homework here?
Yeah, I'll give you some Seattle bands. The Black Tones are a really cool garage rock band that are doing really well right now in Seattle. They got a brother and sister duo, and Chong the Nomad is really good. She's a producer, up and coming, doing really inventive, uh, cool stuff. Yeah, and there's a band called Medijin, Medejin, that I helped produce over the quarantine, and they're like a really cool kind of a shoegazer, like Cocteau Twins, you know, My Bloody Valentine, uh, that kind of stuff. Yeah, A lot of good music happening in the Northwest right now.
Well, awesome. Well, we will definitely have to check out. I got the Black Tones, Chong the Nomad, and Medellin, and I got those spelled out. So we will check those out. With that, you have passed the Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. I mean, it was an electric factor from beginning to end.
Right
Um,
on. Yeah.
glad we got to know, where you've stood on salmon or tilapia, as well as chips or pretzels. I mean, these things.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to know. People were asking us the questions. People were asking us. All of our listeners were asking us the questions. You got to ask. You got to ask about those things. So,
Yeah.
Tash, I will kick it back to you. As that is the final one.
That brings us to the end of the podcast. But Tomo, it's been a blast having you on here. We're gonna keep our eyes open to see any new music you're releasing. And anytime you put something cool up, we're gonna retweet it, get it out there, get more people listening to you. And you've got 2 fans right here in Atlanta, man. So if you're ever here, we are down to see you jam it out, open up for yourself, and have a good time. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, and good luck to the Hawks.
That's right.
All right.
Right?
That's right.
That's right. Let's go Hawks.
Yeah.
Let's go Hawks. Thanks, Tomo.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tomo.
Take care.
Take care.